This movie made history, people. In these unprecedented times, Universal Pictures made an unprecedented choice to release a movie theatrically and on VOD at the same time. The movie that made this giant leap for video-on-demand rentals was none other than Trolls World Tour. Let's check it out. Welcome to Eyes on the Flick. My name's Justin, and this is the place that helps keep an eye out for good movies. If you're new to the channel, you probably already heard this before from other channels, but please subscribe, like, and comment. Help this channel grow a little. Well, let's get right into it. Today I watched Trolls World Tour. There were things I liked about this movie, but I disliked much more. Getting into the plot, this is where the movie and the screenwriters took a left turn. Look, the story had a good premise, and it had a lot that they could have worked with. Unfortunately, it's very similar to a popular movie. Let me tell you the plot, and you'll see what I'm saying. The audience is introduced early on in the movie about how the pop trolls isn't the only community that exists. There are other troll tribes, and they're very different than the pop trolls. Not by the way they look, but by the way they sing and dance. In the beginning of trolldom, the trolls' ancestor created 6 strings that had the power to control all music. Sounds a little familiar. 6 strings, 6 gems? Techno, funk, classical, country, hard rock, and pop were the different genres these strings would produce. Eventually, trolls started to congregate into the genre of music they preferred, creating division. They constantly fought over what type of music should be played, and finally, the elders decided that they should separate the strings, thus creating the 6 different tribes that have lived in isolation. Each tribe holds the string to the music they love, and our journey as the audience follows Poppy and the pop tribe she lives in. The movie introduces the antagonist right in the start. We come in contact with Barb, the Queen of Rock. Now Barb announces her One Nation Under Rock World Tour, hence the title, Trolls World Tour. She sends out an invitation to Poppy and instructs her to bring her string to the biggest party the world has ever seen. Of course, Poppy is naive and she thinks Barb's invitation was of genuine kindness, trying to bring all the trolls together. So her and Branch set out to meet Barb, the Queen of Rock. But Barb's plan is a little sinister. She created this world tour to collect the 6 strings, which will allow her to play the final chord. This final chord will unite all the trolls, but under one music, rock and roll. Now, because of the plot's similarities to another movie, I just couldn't help criticize. This took away from the good story elements this movie was trying to project. If the screenwriters went in a different direction, I think this movie would have been a lot more original, creating new experience and possibly increasing the value. This is definitely a great family film though. The morals and themes are beautifully illustrated. It's about accepting others for their differences. And these are messages more and more kids need to be influenced by. So story-wise, it had the right ingredients, but the measurements were off. If you're going to write a story about music genres, what genre would you pick as the antagonist? Because the writers here went for the stereotypical choice, which was the rock tribe. It would have been better if they made the classical tribe the villains, or a group that you wouldn't suspect. But of course, they went with the obvious. Some scenes made me chuckle, but that's it. A little, that was funny. You know when you send a text to someone saying laugh out loud, but you're definitely not laughing? Kinda like that. It's funny, but not funny enough to get the emotion out of you. The only part I thought was pretty jokes was the pinky promise. That made me actually smile. Like as a kid, I remember how powerful pinky promise was. They illustrated that devotion perfectly.
Pinky promise.
Some scenes fit really well in this divided world. Like the scene where Poppy and her crew start singing to show the country tribe that music is supposed to be fun since they see country music as super depressing. They break out in song and dance, and at the end, no response. A tumbleweed rolls by and says, "You suck."
You suck.
I'm trying here. I can relate to that. You put your heart into something, you get no response, you're hearing crickets. Then you might get one negative response and it ruins your day. Like me with this YouTube channel. But you keep moving, and that's what Poppy does, continue strong. Overall, I am going to say this movie is a good watch. But I'm thinking for a family. These days, people are stuck at home, and if you need a very kid-friendly, new movie to watch, this is definitely it. I am going to say, personally, I didn't find this story original. It was very predictable, and a lot of the jokes didn't really get my attention. Well, that's all I have to say. Thanks for tuning in to Eyes on the Flick. Don't forget to subscribe and like. Later.